Hey, this is Josh. Welcome to my series on tips for online learners. Today we're going to be talking about ergonomics and your learning environment. So ergonomics is pretty much how you interact with your learning environment. And in today's video, what we're mainly going to be talking about is just some best practices for, having a good chair, having a good desk, little things you can do to be as comfortable learning online as possible. So I've spent most of my time as an online teacher working from home. But especially recently, I've been working out of the office a bit more where there are a lot more resources for working comfortably while working online and working in front of a computer pretty much all day. And in this video, I'm going to be relating a lot to my personal experience of making that transition to working from home rather than being in the classroom all day, standing up, walking around. It's pretty easy to be stuck at a desk for hours on end when you're working online. So you have to be more mindful of little things you can do to make that more comfortable. So if you don't have a proper work environment or a proper learning environment where you can be comfortable working at desk or sitting down for an extended period of time, it can lead to back pain, muscle pain. I talked about in my screen time video, staring in front of a screen for a really long time can have an impact on your mental health as well. So you really have to be mindful of these things. And if you went to school in a face-to-face school, when you think about it, you got time for recess, you got time for lunch, you might be moving to a different room or a different part of the school throughout the day. So there's lots of opportunities for you to get up and move around. But when you're working online, especially when most of your courses are online, it's really easy to get into that loop of just being in front of a computer for 3 hours, 4 hours, without even really getting up too often. So you really have to make an effort to remember to get up and move around and really try to make sure that your work environment where you are going to be sitting and working for an extended period of time is as comfortable as it possibly can. And I always think, is there ways that I can make this more comfortable than I am right now? So I've got some questions here that I'm going to be going through. And while I'm going through them, I want you to think of your current work environment and where you are sitting down to get your schoolwork done. And again, think, can things be better? Okay, so is your desk big enough for everything you need to do? Okay, is it too small? Do you have stuff on the floor as a result? Like, is it big enough for you to work with? Is it too short or is it too tall? That matters, especially in terms of, where your wrists are if you are working at a computer. If your desk is too tall, your wrists are being kind of an awkward position. And if it's too low, you might be slouched over a bit more, which is not good for your back either. Do you have enough leg room below your desk? You definitely don't want to be squished throughout the workday or the school day, I guess. And again, are your wrists comfortable while you're writing or typing? Now with your seat, does your chair have proper back support? And another thing too, is your chair too big or is it too small? Is it tall enough? And that's not really too much of an issue because most office chairs, you can adjust the height. And I definitely recommend playing around with that to see what works best for you. Now with your computer and your mouse, is your computer or device, so tablet or whatever you're mostly using, is it reliable? Is your internet connection reliable, especially if you have a lot of online classes? Is your mouse and keyboard comfortable? So I personally have my own separate wireless mouse here because I don't find the mouse pad on my laptop very comfortable. So it's a preference thing as well. I'm okay with the keyboard on my laptop, but I know some people prefer the keyboards where it's kind of split in the middle a little bit, so your hands it might be a bit more comfortable for you. With headphones, again, really depends on what you're doing for school, or if you even enjoy listening to music while you work, or if you want to hear your video lessons better, for example. What type of headphones work best for you? I personally like the big over-ear ones because they can stay there, but if you wear glasses, it can push your glasses in a bit, and that could be a bit uncomfortable if you have headphones like that on for a while. And also like those little earbud ones, I find they fall out all the time and it's kind of distracting. Now with your physical environment, this is very important, especially if you have a pretty busy house that you're trying to learn from. So is your environment free from distractions, or at least are the distractions pretty minimal? Are you comfortable in your learning environment? And if not, is there a better space where you can be more comfortable? So if you're currently working in your kitchen, for example, Would it be better if you moved to a different room? So here are just some tips. Again, I've mentioned a few of these before already, but make sure your desk isn't too tall. Make sure your desk isn't too short, and make sure you have enough room to work with. You might even want to consider a standing desk, which might not be the best for like the whole day, but at least for part of the day, you're not going to be sitting down. You can actually just stand up and get a bit of a stretch. And I know people that work at a standing desk the entire day, and if that's what works best for you, that's totally fine. Now with seating, consider getting an adjustable office chair. Now, back in the day, chairs used to be advertised as ergonomic or ergonomic friendly, but most office chairs these days are built to be very ergonomic, so you don't really see it advertised as much. With your office chair, you do want your back to be nice and comfortable in the bottom part of the back part of the chair. With this guy here, you can see that his lower back is comfortable in the bottom part of his chair. That's really important. You don't want to be slouching over or scooted a bit too far up your chair, because that can definitely lead to back pain. You might also want to consider what I call alternative seating, which is kind of like these kneeling chairs that you see here, or the kneeling chairs that have the back support, or even these ones that have a bit of an exercise ball on the bottom. That might work better for you, especially if you have some trouble staying still for an extended period of time. I'm definitely not going to do a deep dive in this video into all the different types of seating you can use, but it might be worth shopping around if the traditional office chair isn't working too well for you. So again, with your technology, can your computer or device handle what you need it to do for school? Ensure that your internet is reliable enough for what you need it for. And tablets are great, but I find once you hit a certain grade, especially, tablets can be a little bit limited for what you need it to do. But again, it really depends on your online program and what you are doing for your online program. You might want to consider noise canceling headphones. I know this works really well for some people, especially if you have a pretty busy household or you have multiple people in your house that are working or learning at the same time. That's definitely something I recommend. The downside to that is they can get expensive, so I recommend shopping around if that's what you want to do. Now with your physical environment, find a room in your house that is free from distractions, or again, minimal distractions, where you can set up your workstation. Consider having your desk by window, because as I mentioned in my screen time video, which I recommend you check out if you haven't already, you can take a look out your window every so often and get some of that natural light, which is very, very important as well. And keep a water bottle close by, because you got to stay hydrated, right? And make sure you're filling it up throughout the day. That's definitely something you don't want to forget about. And you might even want to have a few snacks nearby as well, just in case. Now, the last thing I'm going to be talking about today is stretching. Now, I have a little infographic here on the side. This is from a resource called Deskercise. I hope I said that right. But pretty much you want to be able to move your body around every so often. Again, it's not like a traditional face-to-face school where you're getting up, going to recess, going to lunch, going to a different class perhaps. You don't have those like natural breaks throughout the day. You have to make them for yourself. And if you want some tips on that, you should check out my scheduling video as well from the series. But with stretching, just get your body moving around so you're not stuck in the same position for hours on end. I definitely recommend combining this with some of the stuff I go over in my screen time video. There's even stretches you can do from your workstation, like you don't even have to get up. But I do recommend you get up every so often. Maybe even have a yoga mat near your workstation. That way you can get at least one good stretching session throughout the day and get yourself a bit more comfortable while learning online. One final tip, consider starting your day with physical activity. Now, I don't have like the research or anything to back this up, but I have heard before that starting your day with physical activity can really get your brain going and a bit more prepared for the school day. Again, I don't have any like information to back that up, but I recommend doing a bit of research on that if you're interested. And for me personally, whenever I try to get exercise in, which I try to do every day, of course, always in the morning before work, I find it's a great way to start your day. But everybody's different. If that's something you don't want to work into your routine, that's understandable, but something I recommend. So thank you so much for watching. If you want some more tips on learning online, I recommend checking out the other videos in my Tips for Online Learners series. And consider subscribing to my channel as well. And thanks again for watching.